It's really an interesting thing for me, and I would imagine for a lot of people at First Baptist, to look in this auditorium and realize that it's the last commitment Sunday that we will have under this present roof.
Can you imagine, or did you imagine 18 years ago when you stood in here for the first time, did you ever foresee filling this auditorium with people?
That's an interesting question and piece of discussion, because a lot of people asked that before we ever moved in here. And my answer was always the same. I really don't know. That's up to God. God's the one who gives the increase. We plant water, He gives the increase. It would be my dream, but did I ever expect us to have 2 services in this facility? No, I did not. But what a wonderful blessing it is to hear the people of First Baptist talk about, at this time, their stewardship and their giving. Because as I've been preaching on impact, am able to look around and see the impact that giving has had on people's individual lives. Man, what a blessing, how they've grown spiritually by giving. And then talk about their families and how their kids have grown and how they've gotten involved together. And then I go out into the community, and to hear people who don't even go to church here talk about the impact that First Baptist Church has had on the county, Claremont County, is a tremendous blessing. And the amazing thing is I know that scripturally it's all tied to our giving.
Just a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to take some of our families who have been very faithful in the stewardship and program of progress here for several years out into the new auditorium and just show them around. And I was able to ask them some questions about how their stewardship and their POP has had an impact, how it's impacted the church, how it's impacted the community, but very importantly, how it's impacted them in their own life and in their own walk with the Lord. And it was a real blessing.
Always giving has always been a top priority in Jeff's life. So, it's been the first thing, it's the first payment he makes every time he sits down and does the bills, because we know the importance of it. We want the community to come in. I have so many friends that say, what's going on at that church over there? It's huge. What are you guys doing? I'm like, come in. It's the love. You just have so much love in our church, and I think that's what people respond to is, and when you see more and more people coming in and joining the church and getting saved, it feels like we're doing what God's called us to do.
I remember when we went into the other building, and our sons were both involved in, they had their little banks, and our youngest son, his first comment when we came the first day was, boy, look what my quarters did. He had saved that change up, and that really impressed him.
When Greg had to he had just got hired on at Ford when Nate had to have his open heart surgery, so we were kind of worried that he, saying I have to take off work, when he got hired, that he wouldn't be able to keep the job, but they let him keep the job, and then he was off for a whole month. Well, the pay that he would have got for that month, literally, when we counted the money that people had given us during that time, was almost to the exact penny of the paycheck that he would have had. And to be able to tell our children that, and just before they want something, we'll say, did you pray about that? We don't just let them go out and buy certain things right away. Just shows our children that when you pray and you give your money to the Lord and you obey Him, everything will turn out okay, and He'll take care of you.
The biggest blessing that I've received was last year in September. My older son, Larry, was saved. And not only was it an answered prayer, but I also think, just for the fact that we wanted to see him come to the Lord, but I think God recognized my faithfulness, my mom's faithfulness, and many other people who have prayed for him for many, many years. So I know that that is truly a sign of, him giving me what I need to take care of everything, but also blessing me with his salvation.
I remember when I first started tithing, and I'm on my own. I'm a single person, and when I first started tithing, I thought that was all I could give. And then when I started doing the program of progress, I sat down and I looked at the numbers, and I started praying, because I wanted to give, but I thought, oh, can I? And I just prayed. I looked at the numbers again, and I prayed some more. And, it's just such a blessing. You can't outgive God. And He has just blessed me. I mean, every time there's been a situation where I thought, where's the money going to come from? He provides.
For us, it's one more way that we can seek the will of God in our lives. This is something God asks us to do. We want to be a part, and we want a closer walk with God. It's just one more way that we can do that.
It just amazes me how the Lord can just bless in your life. When you're faithful in the things of doing the things for the Lord, He just blesses you so immensely. There's been several times, as Brenda mentioned, that we don't know where the money's coming from, but God blesses in some way or somehow. So it's just a spiritual blessing, and I just rejoice in the Lord every day for what He does in our lives through our faithfulness in our giving and our program of progress. And so it always goes back to that same old adage, you just can't outgive the Lord. He blesses you more and more by the more you give.
It was so exciting to be out there with those folks that evening, and just to get a chance to see through their eyes the impact that their faithfulness, their stewardship, their POP has had on this church and ultimately on the community.
It really is a challenging thing to me to hear people as they share what God has done in their lives through stewardship. We look now at this facility, God has truly impacted hearts and lives. But as we think of people jumping on board with the program of progress, new people, we think about those who have been involved in the past, continuing or increasing. Now we go into a new building. How will God impact the hearts and lives of people in this community? It really does tie into exactly what we just heard in the giving and the stewardship. Will God fill this building? He gives the increase. I don't know. But the possibilities are great because God's people are willing to step out by faith and give in an abundant way.